Hello, pool fans. Welcome to Roda's Analytics. So, as in the previous decade, we had a fight between FIFA and UEFA in football. Also, we had the fight between FIBA and EuroLeague in basketball. Right now, in our dear sport in pool, we have basically the power fight between WPA on one side and Matchroom Pool on the other side. So, let's see what happened so far. Let's start with an open letter to players by Matchroom by WNT and what was written there by Emily Frazer. So the biggest problem was that WPA and WPA's organization ACBS was basically punishing Polish players, so the Polish Federation imposed sanctions to them not to be a part of Asian Open Pool Championship, which is going to be held in Hanoi. And what was the reason for that? WPA President Ishaun Singh was the guest at Dodging It at Player Pool podcast on YouTube, where you can watch the entire interview, which was slightly shy of 90 minutes, and let's see what was his response to this matter.
The news that just broke is that Polish players have been informed by the Polish National Federation that they should not play in the Asian Open, which of course is a Matchroom event, not a WPA event. And according to at least one Polish player, the reason is that the Asian Open was too close to the World 8-Ball Championships and they wouldn't have enough time to switch time zones. That's at least what one Polish player is telling me was the reason given to them. What can you tell us about the EP or the Polish National Federation's decision? I imagine this goes through the EPBF and then to you. What do you know about what happened?
Well, Mike, firstly, I think just to clarify, each national federation, they can make these kind of decisions on their own. Yeah, so this decision that you're referring to from the Polish Federation, which may be followed by a few other regions as well, was, to my knowledge, was based on the fact that players had to sign a contract, and there were points on that contract that were not befitting a promoter. It was items that usually a body like WPA or a federation would have put in. Items like if you do play in that event, in the contract, when you do play, you cannot play in any other 9-ball event without the permission of Matchroom. There's a clause to that effect. I don't have that in front of me right now, but that
You're talking about Matchroom contracts.
Matchroom contract to play in the Asian Open.
Okay, but this is exactly the opposite. This is a federation telling a player they can't play. This is not Matchroom telling a player that they can't play. So,
no. I think the point. Sorry, the point is that for people to go and play in that event, they would be signing a contract that, using Poland as an example, they can't allow their players to sign that kind of a contract with a company, because that company will then dictate which tournaments they can play in and which they can't. So for that purpose, they told the players that they cannot take part in that event only because of that contract that Matchroom needs signed. I was sent a copy of the contract, so I have seen it, and I'm not sure why Matchroom put a thing in like that compared to the media that they preach that they're allowing players to play wherever they want to play.
So basically, the official reason was that the time slots of 2 tournaments were too close. That is the reason that Polish players got. But if you read between the lines, WPA doesn't agree with a section of Matchroom Pool contracts, in which is selected that Matchroom can use their power to prevent players from playing 9-ball events held by other organizers if you join their event. It seems like it isn't a problem for WPA to sanction players for joining Matchroom events. Basically, they are doing the same thing that they seem to be afraid Matchroom would do, and they have been using that power which they possess at the moment. So let's check the WPA's website and their organization. When you enter the WPA's website and you scroll down, you can see the post made on social media on Facebook, which was the direct response to Emily Frazer's public release to players. So what is written there is as following. In response to a recent statement made by WPA President Mr. Ishaun Singh during a podcast, they want to provide additional context and clarity. So that interview was 1 hour and 22 minutes long. So I think it is quite clear what was discussed and said there. So here, the discussion of enforcing rules included within the WPA player agreement is a current agenda item to be discussed at the upcoming WPA General Assembly on October 7th, which is going to be held only 3 days before the Asian Open Pool Championship. And so, however, to be clear, no decisions regarding the enforcement of the rules or applying restrictions to players have been made at this time. Additionally, if those rules are to be accepted by the WPA General Assembly, the date those rules may go into effect, the WPA will take into consideration many factors to ensure a proper timeline for communication, to ensure a professional course of action and response from the players. So yes, basically, it is held before the Asian Open Pool Championship, so basically they can withdraw that ban and let Polish players play, but we are going to see regarding that. Furthermore, when you enter WPA's website, you select About Us and organogram, you can see that WCBS, or World Confederation of Billiard Sports, is the umbrella organization, and it controls 3 of them: UMB, WPA and IBSF. WPA is in the direct control of 6 continental organizations. Among them are EPBF, which is in control of Europe, and ACBS, which is in control of Asia. So EPBF imposed sanctions to Polish players, and ACBS recently imposed sanctions to Singapore players, 18 of them from entry into the Formosa Cup. So what happened there? Basically, on June 19th, they received confirmation of their entry, which is accepted to a CTBF organized event. But on July 26th, Aloysius Yap received the information via email of the ban for all 18 players. So basically at that moment they were in Taipei, and with their air tickets and hotels were booked. Basically that happened before the announcement of the ban, and it cannot be cancelled. So it was really unfair to those players as well. Moreover, Gabriel Law, who is among those 18 banned players from Singapore, wrote that Matchroom is bringing the game to new heights in terms of standardization of formats and playing conditions, giving players all around the world options what events they want to play. The future of 9-ball is with Matchroom, period. Also, that statement was confirmed also by Jason Shaw, who wrote, "World 9-ball takeover, let's go, my only events will be Matchroom events for the rest of my pool days." So the players have chosen their side. Besides that, when I was checking Aloysius Yap's Facebook page, when I scrolled down, I saw the petition "Say no to sports censorship, prevent WPA from damaging pool's global growth, sign and share this petition." So let's check what is written there. So what makes this petition important? What is the main problem? So WPA is considering enforcing their rules, Sports Regulation 1.14.1, competing in non-sanctioned events, and prohibit all athletes from freely deciding what events they may take part in. So some players may be sanctioned from playing the nationals and regionals and even commercial events such as Matchroom's European Open, US Open, Spanish Open, etc, etc, etc. So WPA has threatened to ban players who take part in these non-WPA events from all WPA events, including World Championships. So who is going to suffer the most? You guessed it, guys, pool players who make their livelihood of it. So now, when you scroll down, you can see background of the WPA. They say that much mystery surrounds this organization who wield such power in the sport. So what is the main problem? We are coming to four people who are the members of certain organizations: Ian Anderson, Michael Al-Khoury, Shane Tyree, and Jorgen Sandman. So you can see those four people hold multiple positions in different pool organizations under the control of WCBS. Ian Anderson is the current CEO of WPA. He also sits on the board of WCBS as vice president. Michael Al-Khoury is the general secretary of ACBS. Also, he has the position in WCBS and IBSF. Shane Tyree, he has two of them in WPA and WCBS, and Jorgen Sandman, he has two positions in WPA and WCBS. So, why is this the case? No one knows so far. By the way, it seems there is a misspelling with Michael Al-Khoury to Mubarak Al-Kayaran. On the other hand, when you go to WPA's website and you go to rankings, so you can see written in red, only players with a valid WPA player's license are eligible for WPA ranking points. So let's see, what does WPA player's license include? So when you go to the section of WPA player license agreement, you can see that this is agreement between WPA and the player. So it is a requirement that players become or maintain their membership of their national organization within the WPA structure, as this agreement does not replace that nor offer the benefits, rewards, and any entitlements that the player currently receives. There are no changes to the allocation and selection processes from players wishing to participate in all WPA events, but there is an obligation which players need to sign. I accept that under the conditions of this license, I will not participate in any pool event that is not sanctioned by the WPA if the conditions of the event meet the WPA sanctioning criteria as described in the WPA sanctioning catalog that is available on the WPA website. So, what does this mean? WPA can ban any player under WPA from playing any event which is not organized by WPA based on WPA's reasoning. So like it was for Polish players, they said the time frames were too close and they cannot play Asian Open Pool Tournament. Now, clearly we can correlate what Mr. Ishaun Singh was talking about in Dodging It podcast, where he expressed worries about Matchroom contracts and their clause regarding players not being able to participate in events held by other organizers. But WPA is doing exactly the same thing when making players sign WPA player license agreement. Once again, who is going to suffer in this WPA Matchroom quarrel? Of course, it's going to be the players. Historically, the relationship between WPA and Matchroom Pool hasn't always been as toxic as these days. In 2021, Billiards Digest interviewed Emily Frazer, and among many questions there was the relationship between WPA and what does the future of the WPA look like relative to the future of the Matchroom 9-ball tour. So she said that we certainly don't want to be involved with federations and player standings, etc. Also, in creating transparency for things like the invitational events and Mosconi Cup, there needs to be that independent structure overseeing things. She referred to WPA. We hope that as it grows and in 3 years' time we've doubled the calendar and doubled the prize money, the WPA will grow stronger as well through sanctioning. We want to make sure going forward that there are press releases on their website and more social media activity. To do all that, we have to work together. I've set up the right communications between my team and the WPA's team to ensure that things like that are actually going to happen moving forward. Also, she was asked regarding the Matchroom playing a role in the restructuring of the WPA to the point that it has the capabilities and funding and staff to do all those things like she did with World Snooker and the WPBSA. The sport needs the WPA. I don't know if we want to be a part of restructuring, but anything that would help the game evolve, we would want to be involved within that change. We don't want to be the governing body, but we want to help ensure that there is a good governing body in place. The good thing about our events now, like the World Pool Masters and the World Cup of Pool, is that they are set up with entry requirements, so we've now given the WPA allocations for the spot. So basically, she had the positive attitude regarding the future of WPA and Match Pool cooperation. But right now, their relationship is a wreck. Furthermore, during the Mosconi Cup of 2022, Matchroom Sport President Barry Hearn was interviewed. So let's hear what he said regarding the WPA Matchroom relationship.
Barry, Matchroom Pool, WPA, the WPA sanctioned events for years. Tell us about that. Tell YouTube, tell the pool fans what's going on.
Well, I mean, really, we've been in discussions with the WPA for 12, 15 months to try and get them to understand the importance of spreading the gospel of the game, and for us as a company to make the type of investment that we're prepared to, we need to have some skin in that game, and what we've asked them to do is to recognise our 9-ball pool rankings as the official 9-ball ranking system. There isn't another one, by the way, so we're not trying to steal anything that exists already. There is an overall pool ranking system for all the various disciplines of pool, which doesn't interfere with us. Regretfully, the WPA decided they're not going to sanction as their official list our rankings, and they have every right to do that, and we have every right to say see you later, which we're going to do. So the players won't be paying sanction fees, they won't be having any money deducted from their prize money, we won't be looking for the sanction from the WPA because it doesn't really mean that much to us. Especially, we will just go on and develop and invest in our own rankings. The World Championships is different, that's subject to a separate agreement, which we will honour, of course. But we're now sending out invitations to the World Championships based on the top 100 of our rankings, and there'll be 28 wildcards. But we are building the rankings to give the sport credibility that it deserves and to make it into what I would call a proper commercial sport. People have to understand every dollar you earn, every tournament you play in, and I think we're up to around 600 players are currently ranked in the world. By the end of next year, that will be into the 2,000 and 3,000 players. That's how you develop a sport, something that we know about, we've done it before. But I was disappointed with the WPA. I respect their decision-making process. It's fundamentally flawed because they're not commercial animals, and I am. So we'll see you later. But of course, my door is always open. The moment they realise they've made a dreadful mistake, I'm very happy to receive the phone call where they say, you're right, you can own the rankings and they will be the official rankings of 9-ball pool, and then we'll get on fine. In the meantime, we'll just go and do our own thing because, as I said earlier, I'm too old to mess about. I've got a plan, we're going to carry it out. And if I don't do it, there isn't anyone else out there that's doing it currently.
According to Matchroom Pool President Barry Hearn, his organization plans to introduce more events year by year to commercialize the sport and to increase the popularity of the sport that we all love. It's no secret that they want their 9-ball rankings to be the official world's 9-ball rankings, like in tennis there is ATP list and nothing else. There's no doubt that more pool enthusiasts have heard of Matchroom Pool compared to WPA, which is pool's governing body, by the way. So let's check what are some benefits which Matchroom brought to pool overall. Let's start with world rankings. So there you can see the list of players and their earnings since January of 2022. But this list hasn't been updated recently, so Emily Frazer has posted on her social media profile that Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has earned more than $280,000. In top 8 players are Joshua Filler, Shane, Albinaushan, Jason Shaw, David Alcady, Kopinyi, and Ekran Kachi. So top 7 players have made more than $100,000 each. Besides that, on Sports Tourism Media, there was the article regarding the future of Matchroom Pool. So hailed as a benchmark for the global game of professional pool, Matchroom Pool has launched the World 9-Ball Tour with a minimum of 40 ranking events and a prize pool of at least $3 million. So Matchroom is looking to emulate the model that has seen the growth of the Professional Darts Corporation PDS and the World Snooker Tour, both of which have more than £15 million in prize money for the forthcoming season. The World 9-Ball Tour will accelerate at pace to provide a commercial platform for professional pool and change players' lives. That is what Miss Frazer was trying to say when she wrote this is just the beginning. WNT top earners since 2022. Now imagine where we'll become 2025. So when we check the schedule, you can see that Matchroom scheduled events increase in amount annually. So in 2023 there were about 35 events and new ones which were added to the tour. For the first time we had Premier League Pool in March. Also we had Balkan Pool Tour with 4 ranking events this year, which are held in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia and Slovenia as well. So there were players who joined it, like Niels Feyen, Mohamed Sufi, Oliver Sholnoki, and many more players from Netherlands, Germany, Slovakia, Oman, Egypt, etc., compared to previous years when there were only players from Balkan countries. Inaugural Oceania ranking event was held recently, and Marko Teucher won it. So it was held from August 18th to August 20th. And when you look at the November, so there will be the second 9-ball Oceania Tour. So basically, prize pools for tournaments have been increasing compared to previous 5 years. There are more events, as I already mentioned. 9-ball is still increasing in popularity due to standardization of formats and media coverage. The amount of sponsors has been increasing as well. To conclude, this dispute between WPA as pool's governing body and Matchroom is only doing harm, and there must be a common ground found as soon as possible. Because in this war, the casualties are primarily players and on the second place fans. I am interested in your take on this unfortunate war for power in pool world. So, respectable pool fans, express your points of view in comments. Press the like button if you enjoyed this video, click subscribe button for future analysis, and thank you for watching Roda's Analytics. Have a nice day.